Hi and welcome here if you are new to this channel. And also, welcome back if you're already a subscriber. This video is based on comments that many of you have made. I know sometimes space is tight for preparedness. So this is a kit that really works for small spaces, and it can work if you have a large space. This is a compact, but it goes way beyond the bug out bag, way beyond the go bag system. This is a full week. So whether you are sheltering in place during a disaster, or maybe you just have minutes to spare before evacuating your home, you just need a system. You need a system, not just a random backpack, but a full system. Today we are building a compact, powerful 3-shelf emergency kit that can keep you alive and functioning for one whole week without chaos, without confusion, and without breaking your back. That's important. So this is Survival Fit Adventures, and today we are building the Go Shelf. The Go Shelf is a modular preparedness system designed to be used in 2 different scenarios. So, number 1, if you are sheltering in place after a grid down event or a natural disaster. The second scenario would be if you need to evacuate quickly and load your gear into a vehicle in just 3 or 4 trips. Many of you have made comments, I don't have a lot of space. I designed all of this kit to fit on 3 shelves, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to explain each of them and how they all work together in a system. So here we go. Number 1 shelf is food and meal prep. Number 2 shelf is survival gear and hygiene. And number 3 is going to be water storage. So I'm going to break all of these open and I'm going to show you every piece in these kits. Let's start with food, because usually that's the first thing that people panic about. So this tote is designed to give you 3 structured meals in a day for 7 days. It's 21 meals plus a little extra plus hydration. Let's go. So you can see there's a whole bunch of things in here that I'm going to pull out. So on breakfast, we like to use the easy stuff. So the first thing I've got in here is instant oatmeal. Now what I've done is I've also added some cream of wheat cereal for variety. So this box has been opened and a few of things have been switched around, like cream of wheat cereal. So that's the first item. Then I want to go over freeze-dried scrambled eggs. This is from Thrive. They're only available till the end of August, but you can get scrambled egg mix from a variety of sources, and that will get you a lot of protein. In this can, there is 103 eggs worth of freeze-dried egg. So it's way more than you need for the week, but it is here. The next breakfast type item I have is dehydrated hash browns. These are great for energy and storability. These weigh almost nothing. And by the way, that's why I'm using dehydrated or freeze-dried eggs, because they are so lightweight for the amount of protein that you get. Along with the cereal, I know some of you like some raisins in there. So I've got a whole big bag of raisins because these provide a ton of energy, a ton of flavor, and a little bit of fiber. And fiber is always important when you're in an emergency because you need to go to the bathroom. So that helps you do that. So here we go. We've got raisins to go in the cereal or just to eat on the go. Another really important piece of the breakfast, in my opinion, is instant coffee. I drink a lot of just regular black coffee on a normal basis, but this is instant, it is easy. All you need is the hot water, which we're gonna talk about water later. But here is 18 packets. So that's more than 2 coffees a day. That should keep you going. I know some of you might want more, but make sure you have at least 2 coffees a day. That'll keep you happy. So here's all our breakfast items. I'm gonna talk about this. I'm not sure how much B-roll I'm gonna put into this, but really, oatmeal. You can put that, you can just make it in a pot. You have hot water. And if you're really hardcore, you can add your egg mix directly in and cook that all together. Then you've got your carbohydrates for energy, your protein for your muscles, and you can add some raisins in there for some variety and really get something good going on. Tap in a little bit of salt, which I'm going to talk about. And then you've got the whole thing all in one shot, less dishes that way, less everything that way, and you just get it all in ya. So that's kind of the idea behind that, but you can play it out anyway. You can do these up. It just takes boiling water, and then what you do is you cook that in your pot, get them nice and warm to whatever you want to make them look like. You can brown them a little bit, you can leave them soft, and then if you're, again, more daring, you take your scrambled egg mix in that water, throw it on top, make it cook it all the way up, and then you've got a feast for yourself. Early in the morning, gets you going for the whole day. So that's breakfast. So you're gonna see truly how much food we have in here. So I'm gonna move some of these things out of the way, stack them up a little bit so that we can make room for lunch. So let's talk about lunch. Lunch, I really like to have kind of the ability to go on the go, not necessarily cook. So I actually include a whole bunch of these. So these are a tuna salad, which includes crackers, and those crackers are packaged separately, and the tuna is packaged separately, keeps everything nice and fresh and good. And you can just store this. So I really like these because you're getting 270 calories just from this package, and you also get some protein, which is important. Again, everything that I include in here is gonna have a good protein component because that's so important to maintain your muscle, maintain your energy. So let's go. We've got a whole bunch of these in here, and you can see this is, there we go. So 7 of those. One is actually a chicken salad. It's just what I had. And then we're gonna keep going. So I've also got in here 7 protein bars. So these are basically a pure protein bar. Get some more protein in you. And then I've also got beef sticks. This is sealed up in a Ziploc bag. So there's 7 protein bars and 7 beef sticks. So you've got 1 of those for your lunches per day. And I've got, just for the fun of it, I've got 3 packs of sesame snacks. And I just love these anytime. They are so good. I love how they taste. And these actually have a pile of calories because they're mostly sugar. But if you need a pick-me-up, you drink one of those coffees and you can drink one or eat one of these packages. These each have 180 calories, and there is some fat in there, so you're not just getting a sugar, you're getting some fat in there, so you can keep going. But there's actually 9 of those, so there you go. You got a little bit of a bonus for lunch. Also want to talk about electrolytes. So I've got some electrolyte packs in here. They're little sticks, individual sticks. So there's 7 of those. So you've got 1 of these cold drinks. So you got your hot drinks with the coffee, and you got your cold drinks with some electrolytes on top of just drinking water. So you've got everything kind of looked after. So there is lunch. You've got your tuna and crackers. You've got a protein bar. You got a meat stick. you've got your sesame snacks, and you've got the calories you need, you've got the protein you need to carry on. Is there more things that you could add? Let me know in the comments if there's things that you would like to see in your kit if you were to build one. I'm building this just because I know this works. I use these in our own family's MREs, and we just have them on hand. So that's why I put this together in this way, because this is exactly what we do. So this is lunch. These are quick, no cook meals. That's specifically, I want them no cook. And this is designed to keep you be able to be mobile, whether you're doing things around your house or whether you are on the road during an emergency. This is ideal because you don't have to have a cooking fire. You don't have to, get a bunch of things dirty. You just get to keep going, do your work that you need to do, or survive out on the road, however you are in the situation, because we just don't know how it's all gonna come out. Okay, let's talk about dinner. Dinner starts with some of my favorite things, and these are tasty, and these are something that we don't eat on a regular basis, but they are a great, very easy to make dish, and I will show you exactly what these are. So there's various brands, but these are the pre-cooked, pre-made rice dinners. This is a jambalaya style rice, and it's got a little bit of protein in it, which is excellent to see. And then, so these are a different brand that are interesting. These are fried rice style, and they are good as well. So what you do with these, and I'm gonna lay them out here, is I've got a different kinds. There's, you got some broccoli and rice, you got the fried rice, and you've got some cheesy rice. So a whole bunch of different kinds. So you're not getting bored. They are gonna be tasty. Oh, and also inside, I've got a little package of just a bunch of salt and peppers with some toothpicks along, because it's important to keep yourself, stuff from, you don't want stuff in between your teeth, even in an emergency. So you got toothpicks. All right, so the main event for dinner would be to have some freeze-dried meat. Now, freeze-dried meat is great, but you can also use canned meat. And I will show you some in the B-roll. I've got some canned beef, I've got canned chicken, you can have sardines. These kind of things are great. They're just heavier options than this, because this gives me way more chicken that I actually need for the entire week, but it weighs next to nothing because there's no water in it. So this gives me a ton of protein for the entire week, and it's great. And I already talked about the spices. You can give it a little bit more salt if you need it, or pepper if you need it, and you can just continue on. So that is dinner, and this is now empty. There you go. 1 week of food, and that is made possible because we are using some freeze-dried items, and it's lightweight. This whole tote, it actually doesn't weigh very much. Here is the weight of this tote when it is full, right here. So hot food isn't just nutrition, it's morale. A hot dinner, it resets your mindset after a long, stressful day. Depending on what you're going through, a hot meal can warm you up if it's cold. It can just settle you, unlike just, munching on some dry ration bar or something like that. That's why there's a purpose to this, to have a nice warm meal, even if you're in a really bad situation. Now, if it's really bad and you can't cook, There is lots of different things that you can eat cold. You can even eat these absolutely cold, and they're pretty tasty. You just open the pack and eat it right out of there. That's fine. And then all of our lunch, remember, is edible without cooking it at all. You can eat all of the raisins by themselves. You could even, have the coffee powder without any water. I've done it. You can just dump that in the side of your cheek, and it gives you coffee for about 5-10 minutes. It's pretty tasty. That is shelf one, and you can see everything fits nicely into this tote. And again, it's not that heavy. So that is the food side of things on shelf number one. Everything fits, and it is lightweight, it's organized, it is efficient. Hey, on a side note, if you would like to see me do a video like this, but using only items from the dollar store, please let me know in the comments, and I will seriously think about doing that. That would be a fun one to do. Here we go on to shelf two. This is the survival tools. I've got equipment in here, and again, it is labeled. So let's pull the lid off of that and get into it. These are tools that keep you alive. So think of this as your mobile survival locker. First of all, we're going to talk about medical and hygiene. So here is a hygiene kit, and it has all the things that you need if you're going to shave. There's soap, there's shampoo, there is, if I was a female, there'd be maybe female type products in there, but you've got everything that you need to take care of yourself. There's deodorant even in there. There's all of those kind of things. And I'm sure a lot of you have a travel kit that's something like that. So that is in there. Now, along with that, if you need prescription medications, that's a good place to put them, is in with your hygiene items, just so you know that they are in there and they're put away safe. Medical. I carry a compact first aid kit. It also has a tourniquet attached, as you know from my medical bag build video. I have a whole, I show how to build this kit actually on that video, and then I think 3 other kits on there. Now, along with that is these are called rescue blankets, and they are just your basic Mylar thermal rescue blanket. That's a first aid item, but it's also a survival item. And I have 5 of them in this little package, which is amazing. So I have that, and I'm just gonna tuck it away right here, but know that that's part of the kit. Let's keep going. Now, this is one of the biggest items. We're gonna get into water and cooking, but remember those big cans? Well, I got a can opener. This is just your basic can opener. It's in here because you never know what you're gonna run across. You might run across some canned food if it's a real emergency out on the land, but nevertheless, you've got a can opener. So you got a can opener because it was on the top just for opening your cans that I had the meat and the egg mix. Who knows what you'd come across, possibly in a real scenario where you have to be out on the land. Maybe you find some canned food. It's nice to have a can opener. You can open it with this item very easily, and that is the fixed blade knife that I choose to have because of its robustness. And also the ability to keep a good blade, and also its economy. This blade doesn't cost a lot. So that is a great thing. So we do have a fixed blade knife in the kit, so that's going in here. Let's talk about water. Pretty quick, we're gonna talk about the third shelf, which is stored water, but you may have to purify water if you are out on the trail. You are out of your home. Hopefully you have weeks of water's worth in your home, stored up water. That's really important. I can't express how important that is. You should have many weeks of water that you can just have as drinking water. So this is just a portion. Of course, this is only for a week. But if you're out on the land, if you're in a vehicle and you're having to be on the move, you might need more water. Maybe your stored water that you took with you for the week, these 8 bottles, maybe a few of them got broken. Somehow they got slashed with something or punctured, right? So you need to have some purification tablets, and of course more than this. This is just a token, but purification tablets to purify that water. There's also other methods. I've got in here the Katadyn, it's the Hiker Pro water filter. I use this one because it does about 300 gallons on a filter, which makes it a great, I mean, you're not going to use that much in a week, which is phenomenal. So not only do you take the water with you, but you also have resupply items with you that you can make water safe, because in any disaster, in any emergency, water is life, and you need lots of it and lots of clean water. I'm just going to start stacking this stuff up a little bit so we can get to this next big item. And some of you guys that have watched some of my other videos, we do keep this in our go bags. My wife actually keeps this in her go bag, and this is your cook pot. So remember all of those meals that we had, whether it be the breakfast or the dinner, this is the way to get that done. And this is just an amazing pot that I really love so much. And we just keep it in this original box just to protect it. Even in a backpack, it just gives it that little bit of protection, and I really don't care that it's a square shape. But inside, and this holds a whole gallon, inside you got this lid, we'll put that off. Inside you've got an MSR pocket rocket stove, which I personally love. I've also got a couple other ones, but this is the one that I have in the kit because it holds this pot really well. And then in here is just a little paper that just keeps things from banging around too much. Then in here as well is your isobutane. So we've got 1 and we've got 2. So more than enough to last for a week of isobutane. You want to have more than enough. So this would last and last and last. You could do many, many, many meals on 2 of those cartridges. Then you've got a little tiny fire kit. So it's just matches and a lighter that go along with that just to light that stove. Then I've got some cutlery. So you've got spoon, knife, and a fork, which is a beautiful thing to have. And also a pot scrubber. Just an excellent pot scrubber from MSR. I love this thing because it's got the scraper in various configurations, so you can kind of get down in the bottom of the pot. And then you also have a scraper for the sides if things are being stubborn. And then you've got the brush. This is a hard bristle brush that allows you to get this clean. This pot also features a pour spout, which is pretty cool if you're pouring this into something else. It stops you from spilling a little bit. It's also got the batwing handles so you can pour it. And then it's also got the bail handle so that you could essentially put this over a fire that you'd make with wood, and you just suspend this over the fire and take care of things that way. So very multi-purpose, and it's big, and it protects the stove, the fuel, the cleaning, the cutlery, all in one pot. So let's put this back. So we put the pot back in its box with all the different stuff. I also wanted to talk about this. There's lots of other brands, like you can get the Mini Sawyer water filter or something, but just make sure you have some redundancy in your water because, you know, like I said, you can store water, but you never know if they get dropped off or lost or poked or punctured or cut or anything like that. You want to have a way to keep yourself hydrated. Water is life. I'll say it again. Let's keep going. We're gonna dig in here a little bit. So, toilet paper. That goes along with the hygiene. Just a roll of toilet paper that was back in there. Important stuff, right? Important stuff. As we found out in 2020, toilet paper is important, of course. Along with toilet paper is a package of wet wipes. Let's do that because this is, if you don't have access to shower facilities, if you are out on the land, or say, for example, you have no water pressure in your house, these might be just an alternative to get yourself somewhat clean, right? There's a little bit of unscented detergent in here just to keep everything nice and clean. It's a lot better than nothing, right? So let's do that. Along with hygiene, a small compact towel. That goes without saying. It's helpful for many things. Let's keep going. Hey, a full change of clothes. So I have some pants, and these are just some cargo pants and a t-shirt. And then I have 2 pairs of underwear and 2 pairs of a wool blend sock, because if we're staying at home, great. I've got other pairs of pants or whatever. But if we need to go in a hurry, this is at least a nice, dry, comfortable. They're little cargo pants, so they're fairly handy. You can put some things in the pocket. And then you've got your 2 extra pairs of underwear, 2 pairs of socks. So let's put that on here and keep going. Let's talk about the fire kit. I have an old fire kit in here that I've had for many years. And it's got waterproof matches in here. It's got some strike anywhere matches in here. And it's got a book of matches from an MRE in here. Oh, and it's got some Vaseline and cotton ball fire starters. It's also got my homemade lint and egg carton with paraffin wax fire starters. And it's got some just regular old tea lights in there. Tea lights are great because if you can get that tea light lit, you've got a little flame that can light other fires if you need, or you could just heat something up just with the tea light itself. And then alternatively, you can shave off a little bit of that paraffin with your knife, and you can basically light other kindling on fire. So it gives you a lot of options just in a fairly simple space, a small space. All right, we talked about the fixed blade knife. That was on my list. I want to talk about a flashlight or headlamp. In this kit, I choose to have basically a not that expensive headlamp, because then you can be hands-free. You can put this on and be able to work with your hands, which is important. If you're at home and you're trying to do tasks, maybe you have to go outside, you have to look around for something, maybe you're gathering firewood for your wood stove or something like that, you've got the headlamp. Then your hands free so you can actually carry the wood, or you can carry that item, right? If you are out on the land, again, in a vehicle, something like that, and the vehicle is your home base, well, again, I like to have a flashlight. I usually have one in my pocket, but I also like to have something that's hands-free. So this is just something, I think we picked these up at Costco in a 3-pack. You have this. They're also rechargeable, but you can also put your AAA batteries in there. I think you need 3 of them, and then they are good to go as well. So that's an awesome item for light. Talking about power and batteries, also have these little items as just a couple power banks with the cords included, so that I can keep my phone up if I need to, or I can charge the next item that's on there, and that would be the radio. A radio that can get your weather report, or you can use it to communicate if you're close by other people that have the same frequencies that you've already agreed on that you would talk to them on. You can just, link up with people that way. It's just one way that you don't have to use the cellular communication system. So that goes in. That's important. Last but not least in this tote is a small shelter item, and this is a small tarp with some stakes, and I've got a little tiny bit of cordage attached to that, as well as these little interesting, they're like a ball on a bungee, and what those do is they go into the grommet, and you can almost instantly have a connection to the stake without putting that stake right in your grommet and ripping things up and everything. It gives you that little bit of, the bungee gives it that little bit of stretch, so even in a windy situation, it's not all that stress right on the grommet. So these two go together. This is a beautiful thing. Gives you, even if you were out on the land again in your vehicle, you can make a shelter off one side or out the back of it or something like that, where you just have that extra space. I mean, if it's pouring down rain or you need a windscreen or something like that, this comes in very handy. So it is in here. If you have to leave your vehicle, check this out. You carry this with you. You can stick this in your cargo pocket, and you've got a shelter no matter what. And also, this does turn into a full rain poncho as well. So not only is it a tarp, but it is a rain poncho that you can throw on. It's got a hood with a drawstring, as well as covering most of your body. So if you are in a rainy area, a rainy time, you just need something to keep you out of the elements, this is the item. So fresh clothes and keeping them dry is really important. Staying sheltered is really important. This is your everything box. For 1 week, it gives you water purification, it gives you shelter, it gives you heat, it gives you clothing, it gives you a blade, it gives you power, all in one tote. So that's shelf number 2. We are on to shelf 3. So that would be water storage. Let's talk about water. So water is heavy, it's weight. That's why it gets its own shelf. So this actually is heavier than both of these totes. The water is. So it's really important, like I said, to have those filtering and purification items for water. But water, I've got 1 gallon per day as a minimum. That's a bare minimum. For 7 days, it's 7 gallons, but we have 8, right? Because that is convenient. That's how these are wrapped. And I think having a little extra water is no big deal, and it's a good thing. If possible, store water in BPA-free containers away from direct sunlight and rotate every 6 months. In a real emergency, you might only have 10 minutes or less. And this system really breaks down into 4 manageable trips. So the first trip would be the food tote. You can pick up the food tote, slide it out of your closet, and put it in your vehicle. Then you've got your gear tote. Take that off your second shelf and put it in your vehicle. Then you can grab the water jugs and you throw those into your vehicle. Then I've got one more trip, and this would be for your bug out bag, whatever you want to call it, but it usually has some personal gear in there, maybe more clothes, different items. You guys, if you already have a bug out bag, that would be a large addition to what we have here, right? Usually bug out bags are 72 hours or something like that, because they're a backpack. They can't, unless they're one of those massive backpacks, you can't have this much stuff. But for a whole week, you take that bug out bag, you take that go bag, you take whatever bag you have, and you add that to that. So that is 4 trips. 1 for food, 1 for gear, 1 for water, and 1 for your bug out bag. And you throw that in the back of your vehicle, the back seat of your vehicle, and you go. And that way you can survive. And I would say that you aren't gonna do too bad with this system. You've got caffeine with you, you got plenty of water, you got lots of food, you've got tools, you got medical, and you've got shelter. And those things all put together, it's not gonna be too bad. You're going to be okay, and that's important. How I designed this is so that you can have, even in a small space, even in an apartment, you take 3 shelves and you've got your food, your gear, your water, and you can go with under 10 minutes, you can load up your vehicle and go, and also survive for a week. Of course, adding a bug out bag increases that, right? Then you might have a week and a half or something like that. So it's pretty awesome. I really like how this turned out, because there's no guessing in the last minute and there's no loose gear. You can see how these are packed. It's just you grab it and you go. Or if you're staying at home, you know exactly where to find the stuff that you need. It's right here, or it's right here, or it's right here. Whatever you need is at your fingertips, all in one place. This Go shelf, it's not just a pile of stuff. It is a system designed to support one person for 1 week, wherever the crisis happens. So, and it's also for whether you're bugging in or you're bugging out, you are covered. Let me know what you think of this system in the comments. I'd love to hear those things. If you think I'm completely off or wrong about it, let me know, because I'd love to improve the system as well. So here's a few quick tips that I have found. You can either color code your totes, or you just need to label them clearly. You can see here, this says 1 week of food. That's as simple as it can get. 1 week of food is contained in here. This one, yeah, it says equipment and tools. It is equipment and tools in here, and water is already self-labeled. Keep a printed checklist taped inside your lid if you desire. Then you know what's supposed to be in there and what you need to add if you start removing items. Practice the loadout, just like I've demonstrated. You can practice that loadout once a year. It's just muscle memory. Okay, we got 5 minutes to leave. Well, here's how you do it. You grab this, and you're out the door, right? That makes sense, doesn't it? You rotate the food and water every 3 to 6 months out of this and into your kitchen. So eat whatever it is. You don't have to do that with the freeze-dried cans, because they're good for 25 years to be stored. But some of these other items, it's nice to change them out every 6 months, I would say. You can use vacuum sealed pouches to save space as well. I didn't find the need. You can see, like, these are compact. They are packed to the brim, but they are packed well, and I didn't need to use those. I just used some Ziplocs just to keep things organized a little bit. I like those. If you want to take your preparedness further, I did a 2-part video series on building a bug out system. It was so in depth that I actually had to make 2 videos, because it would have been so long, because I went through all the different items in a bug out bag, and also it was our family's bug out bags all together and how they work as an entire system. So I recommend go and check that out. Hey, subscribe and check out my Disaster Preparedness 101 playlist. It's a set of videos that you can find all those videos, like the bug out videos and many others. This is real for me. I've seen what happens when people are not prepared, and I want you to be. That's why I do this. So drop a comment below. What would you add to your Go shelf? Let's build it smarter. Together, I'm sure there's people out there that have built better than this. Share those ideas. I would love to hear them. Also, if you want me to do a video similar to this, but just using dollar store items, I'll do it. Let me know in the comments as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was fun, and I hope it was a good look at truly what you can do in 3 shelves. It's pretty amazing, and actually when I put this all together, to do it in 3 shelves with it being as lightweight as it is and as compact as it is, I thought it was pretty amazing, and I hope you did too. We'll see you in the next one.